Welcome and welcome back. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. My name is Sean. This is my 2 cents. I am glad that you stuck around to see my video. And please come on back and tell others about me. And also, if you have any movies, TV shows, or books that you would like for me to review, drop them down in the comment and I will see them. And if all possible, I will review it. Okay? So, excuse me, I had a hot dog and I guess, I don't know, the cheese must have, I don't know. But we're not going to discuss that. So, welcome. My first movie I am going to review is Twilight. Yes, Twilight. I love the whole series. Let me give a disclaimer. I am one of those people, when I watch Twilight, why is my knee hurting? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I sitting here having these issues? But when I watch Twilight, I watch from Twilight all the way to Breaking Dawn Part 2. I have to watch them in accession. So, the main characters that play in Twilight were really throughout the whole saga, because it's 5 movies. Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Taylor Lautner, Ashley Greene, Kellen Lutz, Nikki Reed, Jackson Ratburn, Elizabeth Reeser, Peter Fasinelli, Anna Kendrick, Billy Burke, Gil Birmingham, Michael Welch, Kristen Serratos, Justin Chun, Rachel LaFar, Cam Gigondet, Edie Gathegi, and Sarah Chalk. Those were the main characters. And the same way that I read them out, I'm reading out their characters. Bella Swan, Edward Cullen, Jacob Black, Alice Cullen, Emmett Cullen, Rosalie Cullen, Jasper Hale, Esme Cullen, Carlisle Cullen, Jessica, Charlie Swan, Billy Black, Mike Newton, Angela, Eric, Victoria, James, Laurent, and Renee. And Sarah Chalk, which is Renee Dwyer. Well, Renee Dwyer is Sarah Chalk, and she's Bella's mom. Billy Burke, played by Charlie Swan, played by Billy Burke. That's Bella's dad. Okay, so the movie takes place. Bella and her mom and stepdad are living in Phoenix, and her stepdad Phil wants to play minor baseball. So he's trying to go on the road to do the minor baseball, training camp. So Bella decides to go to Washington to live with her dad. So she goes to Washington. Her dad buys this truck off of Billy Black, and for her to get around town, get around. So she drives to the first day of school. Everybody seems to know she's the chief's daughter because he's the chief. Charlie Swan is the chief, police chief in the town called Forks, and everybody's just looking at her and staring at her. So everybody knows she's the chief's daughter, and so she goes into class, and that's where Edward is sitting, and he covers his mouth as if his nose and stuff, like he smells something horrible, and she's standing there trying to smell her clothes and her, like, is it me? And something wrong with me? So he up and leave right before the bell, and he goes to try to get out the class. And so she goes into the same counselor's office. So I'm thinking maybe she was going to try to get out the class too, if he was going to treat her like that. And so the counselor tells him, there's nowhere else I can put you. And he was like, fine, I just suffered through it. He was just so dramatic. So he leave out, she leave out. And so back at home, her mom is asking her, like, how was the first day? How are the kids? How did they treat you? And, she was like, they were friendly or something. She was like, uh-oh. And she was like, Mom, I have homework. I'll talk to you later. So she really decided, I need to ask him what's his problem. Because I haven't done anything to him. And for him to treat me like that, I'm going to ask him what is his problem. But the next day and going forward, like he wasn't at school. Okay, so cause she was looking for him, cause she was gonna give him a piece of her mind. She wanted to know what was his issue with her. So, um, things are happening. Other people are getting killed. Vampires are killing other people, and so, excuse me. And so her dad gives her this pepper spray, right? He gives her this well, actually he give her this pepper spray after his friend Waylon was found dead. And so Waylon was out fishing, and so Victoria, James, and Edie comes on the scene and just drained him. So they found him deceased. And so, he gave her this pepper spray because he was like, they trying to track, because they was saying it was an animal, right? But of course, the Cullens know what it is. They know the signs of another vampire on the scene or whatever. So this is okay. So this is how she even met Edward. Like, they was in the lunchroom. And yeah, they was in the lunchroom because when she met Edward, it was after this. So when they was in the lunchroom, her, Jess, Angela, Mike, all of them were sitting at a table. So in walks Rosalie and Emmett, Alice and Jasper, and then so of course Jessica was giving her the rundown. Hey, they together. It's weird that they together and they all supposed to be adopted, and like they they know all their business. They adopted, and their dad must be this matchmaker because they not brother and sister. They actually together. So in walks Edward, and she was like, "Who is that?" And she was like, "That's Edward Cullen. He's gorgeous, but evidently no one here, is cute, is good enough for him." And the thing about vampires is they can actually hear you. So while they was walking and all this stuff, even when she called Alice weird, she heard her say, and the little weird girl, as she was describing her, right? She was describing them, and they heard her describe them to Bella. And so she was like, basically, nobody's here is good enough for him, so don't waste your time. And so Bella was like, I wasn't trying to, or whatever. And then later she meets him in the class. And so so going forward or whatever, they was just, the vampires were just killing people. Now Charlie is involved. They have to go and try to hunt down this wild animal that they say is a wild animal. They thinking it's a wild animal. It's killing these people. And so finally she go back to school and Edward is there. And so now she can address, you were gone and all this stuff. And he told her, yeah, he had to go off, family stuff or whatever. And so this is where they kind of get to know each other. So he's looking at her, she's looking at him, and the teacher give like this challenge to who can name all of these beings or animals, or name something. They win the golden onion. And so Bella and Edward actually won. So now they're walking and talking, and he's trying to get to know more about her. And she was like, did you get contacts or something? Because that the last time that I saw you, your eyes looked black or whatever. And he was like, it's a fluorescence. Like, of course he couldn't tell her, but I'm a vampire, baby. So okay, the color eyes you get today, you might not even get tomorrow, okay? I'm sure it depends on the mood that I'm in, the color eyes you get, right? So, of course, he couldn't tell her that, right? So, of course, he couldn't tell her. So, he walks off. So she's, standing there looking, and then she's going to her truck to go home. Well, Tyler, okay, he's driving, a car just comes out from nowhere. So he's trying to prevent from hitting the car. Bella is standing right there, and bam, as quick as Elwood is, he gets over there to her to push the van away from crushing her between a car. And so now, she's looking at him like, whoa. And so they call 911. She goes to the hospital. Her dad is upset, and Tyler's at the hospital too with his mom, and in walks Carlisle. So Carlisle comes check on Bella. He was like, okay, you might have a sprain or whatever. And so she was like, it would have been worse if Elwood wouldn't have been there, and blah blah blah. And so when they leaving, she see Elwood, and she was like, can I talk to you? So she was from the very first time, the very first interaction she had with him, Bella was very much in tune with Elwood. Bella was very much wanting to know more about him, wanting to be a part of his life. She, from the very start, she wanted that. So she was like, well, how did you get to me so fast? And he was like, I was right there with you. She said, no, you weren't. You was across the parking lot. No, you were not. Don't try to play me crazy. No, you were not. And he was like, yes, I was. I was right there with you, because he trying to throw her off. And she was like, no, you were at your car across the parking lot. And, he was like, just say thank you. And she was like, thank you. And so she said, now she want to know, right? Because how did you get to me so fast? Like, what's going on? And so she was like, I wouldn't tell no one or whatever. And he walked off, right? Because he really can't just tell her his business. He don't know her well enough, So they go, him and his family walk off, because Rosalie was there, his dad was there. They walk off. And so he tells her to call her mom, because yes, he called her mom, and he did the right thing. Your child could have possibly been killed, whatever. Yeah, the parent is supposed to call the other parent. And so she called her mom, let her know everything was okay. And so she is reliving it, like she's thinking about what happened, and she just, it's just playing in her head. So she's looking up stuff, and she goes and get this book. She's thinking about it, so she goes with Jess and them to she goes to San Angelo or something for prom dresses. And she was like, can I go? Because she had been reading up on this book, and she wants to get this, she want to buy this book, because this book is should explain everything to her. That's what she's thinking. This book is going to explain what she's thinking in her head, and she's putting, two and two together. Okay. So she goes get the book, and while she was with Jess and them at the dress store, these guys came, knocked on the window, and the girls was like, oh, that's totally disgusting, and blah blah blah. So Bella leaves them, and she says she's gonna meet them at dinner. Well, she goes and get the book, and by this time it's dark. So she's leaving, and those same guys show up at the as she was walking. So she tried to go another way, and they catch up to her like, hey, where you going, don't touch me. She was like, don't touch me. And they was like, you're pretty, she said, don't touch me. So out comes Elwood driving fast. He jumps out the car tell her to get in the car. And so the guys were like, that was a stupid mistake, but what they realized was you are no competition for a vampire. He is super duper strong. He will tear you up. And he scared them off. So they get in the car. Of course, he knew what they was thinking because he can read minds. And he was like, distract me, because before I go back and rip those guys apart. And he was like, you know what they're thinking? And so he played it out because he was like, it's not hard to think. It's not hard to think about how, what they was thinking, but actually he heard their thoughts. And so they driving and they go eat. He was like, they went to meet Jess and them because Jess and them was waiting on her, and they told her, hey, we have been waiting on you all this time. And he said, let me go and feed you. He said, he said, Bella, I should at least feed you or whatever, and I'll take you home. So the girl's like, oh, that's so thoughtful of you. So they go into this place and they eat. And because she pushed him in a corner. Either you gonna come clean or I'm leaving. You don't have a choice. Either you gonna come clean or I'm leaving. And so he was like, don't. I can't keep myself away from you. Like he can't even refuse. He can't refuse the urge to stay away anymore. And she was like, don't. And he was like, I can't read your mind. I can read everybody's mind in here but yours. And so he started telling her what the people are thinking. He said, but with you, nothing. And so she said, is that a bad thing? And he was like, no. And it was like he was fighting it. He was just trying to fight it. He was trying to fight it. And so they came up to the conclusion that they were not going to fight it. So he wanted her to see who he was. Like, he needed her to see that. Like, he took her up the mountain, and she was like, so, well, actually, when she read that book, right, and she started putting it together, but before that, let me not jump ahead. So after they went to eat, he took her to get her something to eat. After she finished eating and everything, he was taking her home. Well, they was riding through the town, and he was taking her to the police station because that's where her dad was at. So he was like, whoa, why is my dad's car there? And he was like, and she was like, my dad is still here. And so he pulled into the police station, and they got out the car, and as they got out the car, they run into Carlisle, and he said he was telling them about Edward. He was telling about Waylon, that Waylon had got killed, but of course, Edward could read his mind, and I'm sure he, in his mind, he was saying a vampire attack. And so so Carlisle tell her, hey, go in and talk to your dad because that was his best friend. And she was like, okay. So she go in and talk to his dad. He's a little down, and so that's when he give her the pepper spray. And he was like, that'll just help me out, baby. There's nothing pepper spray gonna do against a vampire. But okay, if baby, get the pepper spray, but there is nothing, absolutely nothing is going to do against a vampire. Okay, I'm just saying. So they go home, and that's when she was going through the book and stuff. So the next day at school, she see him and walking to the woods. Why you walking to the woods? It's crazy to me. That's opposite of your truck. That's you walking to the woods because you wanted him to follow you. So he walked into the woods behind her, of course, because now they kind of joined. Like, he can't make himself not be around her, right? And so, and then she had told him, don't keep yourself away. If you want to be around me, I want you around me, basically, right? So she said, you're impossibly fast, you're strong, you don't eat anything, I know what you are, you don't drink anything. And so since he couldn't read her mind, he said, say it. And she said, vampire. And so, oh no, he said, say it out loud. because he can't read her mind. And so she was like, vampire. He said, are you afraid? And she was like, no. So she said, how long have you been? She said, how old are you? He said, 17. How long have you been 17? He said, a while. And so, um, you know, at this point, he feel like there's nothing left for me to do but to show you who I am. Like, they were talking, and he was telling, he was like, there's basically nothing you or nobody else could do against me. And he showed how strong he was. He showed how fast he was. If I wanted to kill you, I would kill you, right? And he was like, but it's you, it's your scent, it's your smell. It's you, you know. It's something about you that does something to him. And so, you know, she was like, I trust you. And he was like, don't. She said, I trust you. I trust you. And so he was trying to take up the mountain and see how he looked in the sun, and, you know, I guess to further verify to her that he's a vampire. And his skin was glowing, glistening, you know, glimmering or whatever. And she was like, you're beautiful. He was like, beautiful? This is the skin of a killer, Bella. This is the skin of a killer. I've killed people. She was like, so? That's what she said. She was like, so? He was like, I wanted to kill you from the first time I met you. You know, she was like, I don't care. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like a magnet. Like, she was drawn to him. She was not drawn to Eric or Mike. It was something about Elwood from day one. I remember my husband, before he passed away, when we used to discuss this movie, because he knew, like, I would come home and be watching it every day. He would just get right in there and watch it too, because I love this movie. And I said, and I told him, I said, she wanted to be with him from day one. She never wanted to be in that crowd. It was something about Edward that drew her to him. It was like magnets. They were like magnets. And so he was still trying to fight it though. Like, you know, he was trying, but you know, he couldn't. And so she invited him to go to, you know, they was going to surf, and of course it was on the Indian land, so he can't go Indian land, right? They had a treaty. They cannot, the vampires cannot come nowhere near the Indians, because the Indians are wolves. They're called Quillateer or something like that. So they were natural enemies. So he couldn't go on their land anyway. So, and that's where they were going surfing. So she invited him, and he asked where, and she told him, and some beach, and she was like, what's wrong with that beach? And he was like, it's just a little crowded. Because of course he couldn't say I can't go there, of course. So they all go, and you know, Jacob shows up with his friends, and they talking and you know, being messy. Jess said, you know, talk to Bella. She invited Elwood, and you know, he didn't come, and all this stuff, and it just being messy. So what happened was Bella fell in love, because like they had moments where they were answering he was answering all her questions. She was asking him about his family. She was asking him, you know, what's the reason you don't kill people? Is it because it's because Carlisle don't kill? And he was like, you know, my family, we don't kill people. We just, you know, we fatten ourselves up with the blood of animals. We don't kill people. That's not what we do. And so they had, you know, their little moments. So he was like, he wanted to take her to meet his people, because he had told her, like, on that first initial visit in the woods, that he had been waiting on her. Like, hey, you don't know how long I've been waiting on you. So he had told her he had been waiting on her for so many years. So she goes to visit his people, And so they trying to cook for her, be all nice and whatever. And so they show up, and Edward is so awkward too. Like they all awkward, but they tried to cook, and it was like, she's already eaten, you know. It's crazy. She's already eaten. And so Rosalie, she's doing way team too much. She breaks the bowl, and salad go on the floor, and you know, because they was really worried about, okay, if something happens, everybody's gonna blame us. If something happens, everybody's gonna, you're putting a spotlight over on us. With this relationship that you and her are trying to build is putting a spotlight on the family. It's just more than you involved here, right? That's what Rosalie was coming from. So they go upstairs, and you know, he don't have a bed. She was like, you don't have a bed? He was like, no, I don't sleep. She said, ever? He was like, no, not ever. And so he have all this music and all this stuff, and he was trying to get her to dance. She said, I can't dance. And he was like, I can make you. And she said, I'm not afraid of you. So he get her and throw on his back and fly out the window, climb up the tree, and go all the way to the top. And she was like, wow, oh my goodness, what, you know. And she said, this doesn't exist in my world. See, again, she was attracted to him because he was not normal. She was very, very, very much so attracted to this lifestyle that he was about to introduce her to. She did not want no high school kid like this. I'm telling you, I told my husband, I was like, she didn't want that. She already knew something else was coming along with him, and she did not care. She didn't care. And he said, in my world it does. And so he takes her up, and then he's playing the piano for her and stuff, and showing off his skills, and it was very good. It was very good. She fell completely head over heels in love with him. Okay, completely head over heels in love with him. So what happened is so prom and stuff was coming. Of course, they was going together, and I want to make sure I'm not missing out anything. I want to make sure. Because Jane, okay, so they was going to go play. She wanted Charlie to meet him, right? Because Charlie had asked her, hey, is it any little boys? Because her and Charlie would eat dinner at the diner. And she was like, Dad, we're going to talk about boys. Because a lot of her ways were like her dad. Like the fact that she didn't mind being alone. She did not have to be with someone, you know. And so he was just asking. He was like, I just don't want you being alone so much. And she was like, I don't really mind being alone. And, you know, he asked her, are you interested in these little boys? And she was like, Dad, we're going to talk about boys. And he was like, well, you know. So it came back around. She wanted him to meet Edward. He said, I thought you weren't interested in none of these boys. And she said, well, technically he don't live in the city. Trying to be, no, we're not technically. So anywho, he comes over, and Charlie was cleaning his gun, and he was like, bring him in. She was like, Dad, be nice, he's important, he's very important. So he comes, he meet him. He was like, hello sir, I'm Edward Cullen. And he was like, I'll take very good care of her, blah blah blah. Okay, so they go off to the baseball field to play baseball. They told them they need to play when it's thundering and lightning, because the sound from them hitting is so loud that you can't explain that if there's nothing going on. But if it's thundering and lightning, excuse me, okay, you can justify that. Okay, so they playing, enjoying themselves, and here comes James, Victoria, and Laurent. So he tell her put her hair down, and she was like, what? Put my hair down? Because evidently, as long as your hair down, they can't smell your body or something. And so James is looking at her, and the wind comes blowing her up. Now he smelled the fact that she's, I guess, the blood in her body or whatever. So now they're like, you're human, and so now they're on attack mode. So they said the girl is with me. That's what his family was like. The girl is with us. I think you should go now. The girl is with us. And so Edward takes her to take her home, but he was like, okay, this is an obsession for James, so I can't take you home. He would just kill your dad and stuff. And she was like, he would go kill my dad. I can't just leave my dad. Like, he was like, let me get you safe, and then we worry about your dad. She was like, no, he could just go, if he's following my scent, he'll follow my scent to my house and kill my dad. And so she was like, no, we got to go home. So they concoct this plan, act like they ain't mad at each other, and he gonna meet upstairs in the room. And she was like, she come in, Edward, just leave me alone. And she went upstairs, and the dad was like, are you okay? She was like, I just need to get out of here. And that was the plan, really, to just get away from him so that James can follow them and leave him alone. And so it was sad, but she said all this ugly stuff, and then, it was really so that he could let her go. So they leave, and he's taking her to Arizona or wherever. So James followed them, and he realized it was a setup, right? So now Carlisle send people to guard Charlie. He sent Alice and Rosalie, Alice and Esme to guard Charlie, and so or Alice and Emmett to guard Charlie, and so they take Bella and go to Arizona. So James called Bella's phone. He was like, he had did this little concoction play, like he was at her mom's house. Oh, he you better get away from your mom. You better get away from them. You handle that, or mama here will pay the price. So she leave. She go meet him at her old ballet studio. So of course Alice can see stuff. So she had drew the ballet studio. So James get her there. She was like, Mom. He played the same recording. She's like, my mom is not even here. No, he just wanted to lure you there so he can kill you. And so he, break her leg and throw her through glass. And he was just toying with her. And then Edward finally show up. But at this point, so Edward fighting with him. She laying there, legs bleeding and all this stuff. So he threw Edward. Next thing you know, he comes over there and bite her wrist. And so she's laying there now, moments from either turning into a werewolf, turning into a vampire, or dying. One of the two. So Carlisle, they all show up. They kill James, and Carlisle tell him to suck the blood out. He was like, I can't do that. He was like, you don't have a choice. I would not be able to stop. He said, well, make yourself stop. Force yourself to stop. But she got moments to live, and you gonna do it or she gonna die. So Alice was like, I seen her. She will be one of us. And so he goes and sucked the blood out, and then he was sucked the poison out. And so Carlisle was like, stop, you're killing her. Stop. And he did. And so now she in the hospital, and they done came up with some lie playing like she fell so many out the window and blah blah blah. So to her parents, and so her mama thought she wanted to go back to Florida. She was like, no, I want to still live here in Forks, but that ain't what you said. You said you want to go back home. So her mom's like, we'll talk about it later. No, she didn't want to leave Forks. So now it's prom. Alice give her a dress and everything, fix her hair and all this old stuff. So they show up for prom. And while they was at prom, Edward went to go drive the car. Here comes Jacob. Jacob said his dad paid him $20 to come and deliver a message to her, because the dad know, look, these are vampires you hanging with. So the dad sent Jacob to tell her to leave Edward alone. And she said, tell your dad to pay up, because there was no way possible. She want to be a part of that world. She wants to be a part of that world very bad. So um, Edward shows back up, and they walk into because they natural enemies. They can't stand each other because really, Edward want her to himself, and Jacob have a crush on her too. So they go into the prom, and she was like, "You're killing me. You're killing me." And he was like, "Everybody should experience their prom. Everybody should go to their prom." And so they go outside. They dancing, and she was like, "Why did you save me? I would have been you. I would have been like you by now." Again, I'm telling you guys, she wanted that life so bad. And he was like, "You don't know what you're asking. You don't know what you're saying." She was like, "I do." He was like, "You don't want this. You don't want this life." And she was like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." And so he said, "So you ready right now?" And she was like, "Yes." And so he acted like he was gonna bite her, but he kissed her and said, um, just enjoy being you for now. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy life. Just enjoy it. Because he didn't want to see her as no vampire, because he already knew you don't have a soul. You damn the hell. He didn't want that for her, but she was doing everything in her power to fight against that. She did not want to hear that. Period. She was not trying to hear that. So it goes off with them dancing at prom, and so yeah, that was the end of it. So that was the end of Twilight. Again, it was something about him. She wanted him. She wanted to be a part of his life. She saw how he dressed. She saw he didn't speak like nobody else spoke, and that he carried himself. He's carried himself like a grown man. So she wanted whatever lifestyle he had. Bella wanted to be a part of that. She wasn't interested in Mike and all them, Jessica and them. She wasn't interested in that high school kiddie stuff. She was not. Period. She wanted to be a part of Edward's life. And whatever that entailed, that's what she wanted. And she made it her business to do whatever she needs to do to be a part of that. This has been my review for Twilight. This movie came out in 2008. If I need to rank it out of 1 to 5 stars, I give this a 5 plus. This is, again, this whole saga is, I'm here for the whole saga. So my next movie review will be New Moon. I don't know if I'm gonna get around to Eclipse, but I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and, because if I watch them all in succession, I should do the review and all in succession. But I don't know. But my next review is going to be New Moon. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for watching my review. I hope that you come back. I hope that you give me a thumbs up. I hope that you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Again, my name is Sean. This has been my 2 cents on Twilight. 2008. The movie came out in 2008. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you all in my next review. Bye.